Shabbat Shalom. Last week when I spoke with you, I mentioned that our congregation, and indeed the entire Jewish world, is undergoing dramatic change. Congregations of all descriptions and denominations have not been gathering for prayer services, minyanim, in physical locations. Jewish ritual baths, mikvahs, have not been operating, and even burial preparations and funerals have become quite different to what we've always known. Jewish law, halakha, has been running to catch up with changing world circumstances, and rabbis often find themselves these days improvising as they attempt to navigate one new first after the next. Basically, anyone and everyone involved with the Jewish world is noticing this state of transition, and those who've not yet felt it soon will, as the high holidays approach in mid-September. In the meantime, though, this week we turn to the book of BeMidbar, which is all about transition. We've just completed Vayikra, which never mentioned time nor place. Not once did it say that the Jews were in the desert, that X many months had passed since they'd left Egypt, because there's no need or desire to think of any place other than this place of God's revelation. Instead, Vayikra is written in an eternal present, as if it's a moment of eternal bliss between God and Israel. But BeMidbar, which we begin to explore this week, is all about movement. It's all about spatial transition as the people continue their journey through the desert. It's about temporal and interpersonal transition. BeMidbar is very much aware that times change, and there's an instance in the text where time jumps 38 years. In BeMidbar, there is succession. Aaron and Miriam die, Moses prepares to die, and a successor is appointed. In Vayikra, the theology and the practice were given to the people, and now in BeMidbar, these ideas are implemented in the world and are turned into institutions for the Jewish people. Just think what it must have been like for the people to transform their lives into a totally new system. So much of the movement and the transition of BeMidbar resonates with where we find ourselves today. Our systems are changing right now too, which forces us at Temple Beth David to ask ourselves, what are our sanctuaries? How and where do we gather as a community in prayer? What are our holy of holies, those sacred things that dare not ever be violated? What price are we willing to pay in the pursuit of ritual purity? And do we dare to dabble with strange fires? One of the biggest challenges in almost any organization or institution is how to manage change. And so often it seems preferable to just resist it. But here in Rochester, we know all too well that this phenomenon of resisting change has a name: Kodak. We at Temple Beth David don't want to be like Kodak. Instead, we survive, and we want to do more than just survive. We want to flourish. So, this coming Thursday evening is Erev Shavuot, and it is an ancient Jewish tradition on the eve of Shavuot to stay awake and study Jewish issues all through the night. As a variation on this theme, we will have a discussion on Zoom beginning at 6 p.m., lasting for roughly an hour and a half, about the conservative movement's recent endorsement of live streaming services, both on Shabbat and on the holidays. This issue affects us directly, and Thursday night is your opportunity to learn and to participate about this issue, to participate in a discussion about our future. We will send out a link to the Zoom meeting on Tuesday, so keep an eye out for that email early next week. Stay tuned. Please join us on Thursday, and in the meantime, Shabbat Shalom.